Um,
We'll want
Hi.
everyone to mute.
Oh, yes. Everyone except Phil, please mute yourself.
I'm not sure I know.
Mute yourself by going to the little microphone, and there's a little caret next to it, and you click on that caret, and or actually you can just click on the microphone and it will mute you.
Hedy?
Otherwise, I'll try to mute you. Okay, so there's some people who are not muted. I'm going to go through and mute you. And Jim, I made you co-host so you can let people in.
Got it.
All right. So welcome a little belatedly to the first virtual March reading. It's hard to believe the months are flying by and it's already March and it's spring here. Hence my background, which is California desert flowers with California poppies flagrantly flaunting themselves in the foreground. And today we have one of our two scheduled readers, Phil Terman, who is going to read for us. I do not see our other scheduled reader today. It's possible there's been a problem that I don't know about, but in any case, we're going to enjoy hearing Phil. I will introduce him now and then we'll get started. Phillip Terman's recent books are This Crazy Devotion from Broadstone and as co-translator, Tango Beneath a Narrow Ceiling, the selected poems of Riyad Saleh Hussein. His new collections, This Blossoming Everything and The Whole Mishpocha, will be published in 2024. He served as co-director of the Chautauqua Writers Festival, co-curates the Jewish Poetry Reading Series, sponsored by the Jewish Community Center of Buffalo, and directs the Bridge Literary Arts Center, serving writers in Western Pennsylvania. So welcome, Phil Terman.
Thank you, Robbi. It's too bad I'm going to miss Mary Jo Banks' reading. She's a wonderful poet. So I'll try to carry the day. Hopefully she'll show up. And she can interrupt me at any time and take over. So thanks for coming in. From people from as far away as Peru, I understand. Anybody from farther away than Peru? No? Okay, you got the prize. Can you hear me okay? Everybody? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to start with a poem from the This Crazy Devotion, and I'm going to dedicate it to its publisher, Larry Moore, who I see is on the screen. Thank you so much, Larry. It's called Tormented Meshuggahs. Where are those crazy sages, the ones who dervished across the hayfields and paused to yawp a parable to the cows about the 7 beggars, that tale layered like an onion? And when you peel it, you wail like the child you still are, wounded and wonderful. And where are the rabbis who wandered all over and off this world, measuring distance between our dreams and the stars? The ones who wrote the testaments, the commentaries on the commentaries, the interpreters, the ones who exclaimed, "You haven't seen nothing yet. The world is just but preparation." Those Meshuggahs. Summer harvest. We eat of the soil, basil into pesto, tomatoes into sauce, and our prayers, a little table talk, a lot of laughter, and our children inhaling their supper, bodies bonkers for with they don't know what, scampering across the field to the pond, searching for koi, jellyfish, frogs, dizzy with this, elated with that. And the next world, will we be greeted with white scarf and crown? Will we be invited to share in the feast? Will we speak the language that should have been our own? Will we reach a companionable silence? Oh, you so-called masters, disclose the secrets only you know. What the worms are whispering beneath the earth, you bow your bodies toward. Enter our dreams and reveal the source of our yearnings. We move from book to garden, from garden to book. Now is the time to taste the fruit before it enters the fruit, the way God consulted the book before creating the world. Look any deeper than the garment of the moment. We want to read both texts, the laws and the love, the patriarchs and the forgiveness, the silence that Buddha taught. We want the Dharma and the Java, the rebirth, the vegetable love. We're topsy-turvy for the duration, for our daughters placing small apples into the dog's mouth. See what I mean? It's like water, isn't it? Like the dream we call our life. Those Meshuggahs, what would we do without them? The next poem I want to read, it was the one I had an image for, Robbi. I don't know if you want to enable the screen for me or not, but oh, okay, you did. See if I can find it. Okay. Can you all see that? Mercury? Okay. He comes up in this poem. It's a poem from the new one of the new collect. I have two collections coming out this year, which is unusual. And this is from one of them. The collection is called This Blossoming Everything. So I like Robbi's background. This is a long poem, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. And it starts the book. It's called. My wife gifted me with a one of those kind of hardcover notebooks, lined pages, and it had this image on the cover. So I just kind of wrote in that notebook and for a while, and this is what came out of it. So the poem is called Written in a Blank Notebook with a Torso of Mercury on the Cover. And I'm just reading some selections from it. In this unlined, empty notebook, you blessed me with when I had no other. Only to you, until it is filled with my desire, as I fill myself up inside of you. Mornings our bodies broke into waves. Remember the lit candles? Remember the spiritual music, otherworldly, from the old radio? Remember the fire against the harsh winter and love? Before it passes, before our memories fail, as the corn leaves bowing into soil, as the sunflower heads drooping, before the seasons of the slow heartbeats and the shocks, before the moment our years frail like worn coats and thin into patches. Let me say these words into your ears after some tired day of hands and eyes, after you have informed the rooms with all that you know. I apologize in advance for my meager craftsmanship, for my stuttering and my illegibility. It's a poem in a few sections, so let's pause. So bright we can read by them, we said of the stars, the almost full moon, walking our routine around the gravel path of the church and its cemetery. Each night we rounded the dead. What commandment were we observing? And did those souls have some say-so in our circling? Once, our Jamaican friend swore the dead stole into our living room and sat at the table for a hand of cards. You were grieving. She was your healer. She saw this vision and said it was good, that the dead feel comfortable here, opening the windows, making small talk. I said you were grieving. That was in our other life, which turned out wrong. Sometimes you woke shaking and I tried to hold you and keep you in this world. It was that other life, seeping through the floorboards of your dreams. We couldn't keep it out, not entirely, or mine, with its rapid beginnings and abrupt endings, its unexplainable conclusions and failures. We hushed those voices with huge meals and love after, our one body crawling aimlessly on the floor. In that hidden town, hilarious apartment, how we understood time could stop a little while if we became one person, looking up suddenly at the first stars. We kissed during the last eclipse of the century. The night was swallowing the full moon, it up, slowly savoring, or the moon was disappearing into its own dark. We didn't know what this all had to do with the planet's turning, its alignment, and its laws. We were in the cemetery, strolling, tired, the day sinking into sleep, like that moon into its dark ocean. The century's last eclipse is saying something. It's saying who were the lovers who kissed during the first and all of those succeeding. What is an eclipse after all but the blocking out of light for an ancient merging? Rilke said lovers get in each other's way of their spiritual longing. So why do I hear wings ferociously beating? Okay, I just wanted to read a couple more sections from this poem. Okay, well, two more sections. All the wisdom of the ages has proclaimed the one truth, that one person is a completion of another. Now the light fade divides this small room in half, and dawn flickers at the edge of the trees, and a flock of swallows script their one letter across the washed sky. You have given me all of this, the wind sounding through the air, the urge of its own momentum. And now the ekphrastic ending poem that refers to our Maplethorpe torso. Study the torso on the cover of this blank notebook you gave me. The boy is without blemish, with his pure white marble and his winged hat. He is looking off to the side, to a place beyond the edges, and his fixed expression implies that whatever he's gazing upon is full of vision. Note the sensuous muscles in his neck, his shoulders, his perfect chest, the contours of Adonis and Apollo, and the angels, Gabriel and Michael, and the ones in that German film, Wings of Desire, who couldn't resist becoming human, wild and heavy, with bad teeth and always forgetting. I wish these words were as perfect as the boy's smooth cheeks and nose and lips and eyes. Even the fragment is perfect, no rough edges. He is complete in his ruin. But already you have to struggle to make out these homespun words. Squint your eyes, hold the pages to the light. Note the crossouts and the startings over, the awkward hand, whole pages ripped out. Note how each letter is really a scribble and scrawl of nonsense or the nervousness of desire. I'm saying the fingernails on the dresser and the nubbins of hair in the sink are flakes of me floating through the house. The boy will never shave or worry about clipping his toenails in fear of accidentally scratching his wife during their supreme moment of bliss. I'm saying he will know no supreme moment of bliss, for where the rest of his body should be is only air, or perhaps the ache of the amputated, or, as far as we know, the angels. That's the end of that poem. So thank you. Yeah, that was it's from the new collection. So we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to read a poem from another book here. It's an elegy that I wrote for my brother. Again, I read long poems, but I'm going to only read sections from them. This is one of those 7-part poems. I'm just going to read one part, or maybe two, from this section. And it's kind of like he was a scientist, was working at the Albert Einstein School of Medicine, and on cancer research and all that, and he was jogging and unfortunately was hit by a car. This was about a dozen years ago, and it's almost his anniversary, the art site, we might call it. So I'm going to read this poem, thinking about the things we shared. It's called What We Own. I followed you down the switchback trail of the Grand Canyon, and we slept in a crevice, and we own that. And we own those moments tossing the football in front of 4073 Wyncote Road until the streetlights snapped on. And we own the smoke bomb the cops threw at us and a few thousand others at the Jefferson Airplane concert, Akron, Ohio, 1972. And we own the whole country we passed through, all the way to the ocean, where we checked into a hotel, and you discovered, lying atop Gideon's Bible, a black canister's worth of weed and a half a pack of rolling papers, and we smoked it, and it was good, unbelieving of our luck, which we own, and the lunar landscape surrounding our tent in Big Bend, Texas, and the stars so clear we could read by them, and we did. And we own The Godfather, Part 1, on the big screen of that packed theater in Evanston, Illinois. And we own that fear when we were lost in the Tennessee woods into the dark, and you followed some analytical instinct until we found, lo and behold, a road. And Bob Dylan, who was ours, and Joan Baez, who was also ours, singing The Time Changing in the War Memorial, and watching the Indians, miracle of miracles, beat the New York Yankees at Yankee Stadium in the 1995 heat wave. That too, that victory was ours. And I remember how quiet you sometimes were. And I asked you about it. And you said it's a feeling you get. You don't know how to talk about it. And I'd like to think we own that feeling, how we bested the myths. We didn't become murderer and victim. We didn't cheat on the other's birthright. Oh, my brother of the other world, my brother who perhaps will greet me when I arrive at that place prepared for by our Father, who is now joined by his own flesh and blood, which is not blood, which is not flesh, but bones and perhaps spirit, which we believe in, like the moon or the unpredictable Cleveland weather, or the way the snow descends on the fallen leaves, or how the sun glazes them now for their moment, stirred in the slight wind, the same wind that blew that Jerusalem dust in our faces, which we own. Okay, all right. That's okay, I'm going to do another poem from. Well, I'm going to poem another poem from this book. My father was a used car salesman, and I had to work for him. So I don't know if anybody had to work for their parents, but I have a long poem, another long poem about that. But this is another section from that poem. The poem is actually called The Used Car Lot. So let's see. No. He grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. Anybody from Cleveland or been to Cleveland or try to avoid Cleveland? Or there's a wonderful delicatessen called Corky and Lenny's there, which sadly just closed. So this poem takes place there. I like to feel like the poem immortalizes Corky and Lenny's because it's no longer there, but the poem still is. I grew up in the 20s, 30s, 40s, you know that story. Remember Cecil B. DeMille and the Ten Commandments, that movie? Yeah, all right. A cast of thousands. My dad's kid brother, Hi, worked 14-hour days at Cotton Club Soda Factory through the Depression and the war, dreaming of stardom. 18, wavy black hair, 6'6", dimples, Everyone's head would turn when he'd slide like an undiscovered star through the double doors of Corky and Lenny's delicatessen, where you would take a number and order the smoked fish, the lox, the spicy corned beef, the herring and wine sauce, and sour cream from the old women in red schmattes speckled with vanilla splotches, faces patched with rouge and lipstick, wishing all the customers a Kanina Hora and Mazel Tov, and filling the air with their kibitz song. Yvonne should slice the challah? What? What's the matter here? You think it's not fresh? And the clatter and clutter from the meat counter, and the kvetching in the corner booth, where the altar cockers gathered and kibitzed about the mockers and the knockers. Got all my Yiddish in one line there. So my father had his own parable about the man who was paid a ruble per day to wait by the Eastern Wall for the Messiah. How can you work for such low wages? They asked the guy. And then he said, low wages, sure, but at least the work is steady. His brother, though, hitchhiked all the way for a role in the Ten Commandments. He played a slave, then went into real estate. Each year it appears around Passover, like Elijah, and we'd watch close, my father suddenly pointing to the set. There he is. No, wait, there he is. No, I'm sure this time it's him. All of us straining for the familiar face. He's still the one everyone asks about. Some days when it's dark early, my father comes home from the used car lot, kicks the snow off, tells us how none would start, that it seemed his blood would stop, and we should all be in California. You know, it's too bad you're all muted, because I'd love to hear some laughter out there. Unmute everybody, let them laugh, please. Fake if you have to.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent, Phil.
See that? Just unmute.
Love it. You
There's a
gotta
dog
tell
in
us
the
what
back.
collection.
Oh,
Let the dog bark. That's from the House of Stages, which is my first book a long time ago. This is again from Larry Moore's book, this crazy devotion, which came out a few years ago. And it's one of them, the subject of my father. I have a poem in there about him. So he wants the stage just a or one more. My father's radio interview. If he could have had it scheduled, he would have discovered that I just lost you. Uh-oh. Oh, here we go. All right.
no, we're
Okay.
all still here, even if you can't see us.
Oh, I can see you now. All right, good. Mary Jo Bang showed up. Maybe she should just come in and yay. All right, my father's radio interview. If he could have had it scheduled, he would have the theory developed selling used cars. It's an instinct, he would have said to the schlemiel host of the local NPR station. It's a lot like gin rum. Never speculate. Sometimes you're dealt a good hand, but more often it's a foot. Elaborating, he quotes Shakespeare. TB or not TB? That is really the question. Can something be done about it? Sorry, these are terrible. Sorry, but they're not mine. He would have rejected the theories of who was born in Tomb and he said, vote for mohair, not dandruff. Imagine 6'4". He'd rise, light a cigar, blow a smoke ring, pause, and reveal his golden nugget. Don't smoke. Monster growth. Leaving the studio, he'd pause, turn around and recite and assert, look at me. I could have been 7 feet tall. He always gets you on that. All right, I'm gonna read, now I can read a depressing poem because.
No, now you,
Oh, you like that
now,
one, Larry? I read that one for you too.
now you should stop because Mary Jo just came in.
Ah, she did.
Yeah,
Can I do one more?
no,
Important poem.
sorry.
Oh, I can't? Okay, all right.
Well, what do you say, Mary Jo? Okay.
All right. I've been co-translating a poet who lives in Gaza. And Nasser Rabbah. his name is, and he's incredibly well regarded in the Arabic world. And Salah Razouk, who lived in Aleppo, was living in Aleppo when we translated some Arabic poets. So he had Saleh had some terrible experiences himself, obviously. And we translated some of Nasser's poems, and this was before the current catastrophe that's going on now. And I'm in touch with Nasser. Amazingly, they can't really send a lot of messages, but they can send some on Facebook. And he's been posting some poems on Facebook that are really incredible. And I asked if we could translate some of them, and he said, yeah, he would be very happy if we could. And we did. And I told him I was going to read one of them and so I'd like to read this. His house was bombed last week. He was been missing for about a month. The refugee camp he was at was bombed, and then he was been missing, and finally we located him. There's because he's such a great poet, some other translators. Moab Abu Toha is also a translator, a friend of Nasser's. And Nasser's going to have a book out of translations from City Lights Press next year. And his life is incredibly sad. So here's a poem that we translated called, when he wrote it, he posted it on December 1st called 4,000, referring to the 4,000 children that had died. That was on December 1st. I asked him if I can change it to 12,000, and he said, please do. So it's called 12,000. Nasser Rabah, translated by Saleh Razouk, and I helped Saleh with the English. 12,000, 12,000, 12,000. Not 12? 12,000. 12,000 soft hands touching right the gate of Allah. A chain of little angels covering the sky of this life. Life looks old without children. 12,000 lost kisses staggering in the air. 12,000 white butterflies without flowers to land on. 12,000 times the word mama will not be said. 12,000 times papa will shadow the heart each morning and evening. 12,000 colorful shoes tucked under empty beds. 12,000 school bags guarding the sorrow of homes. 12,000 morning sandwiches left on tables that no one will reach for. 12,000 broken bicycles abandoned on the roads. 12,000 12,000 that could not enter the school door and will not attend graduation ceremonies, will not buy Eid clothes, yet will be with no friends. Nobody will ask about their wishes when they grow up, sitting next to a river of tears. 12,000 photos on the walls, and 12,000 sipping grief. Starving sparrows on 4,000 mothers' windows, pecking the heart's bread. 12,000 scents that won't leave their pillows. 12,000 books gathering the dust of longing. 12,000 eternal laughs breaking the glass of time. They will not grow older, will not depart from the last scene, will not flee the rubble, will not find an ambulance, will not make it to a hospital, no mourners escorting them to funerals, no flowers on their graves, only 12,000 on the news. Thanks for letting me share that.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm going to introduce our second reader as soon as I find the introduction, which I unfortunately closed out thinking I wouldn't need it. I'm going to have to look for it. Okay. Mary Jo Bang is the author of 9 books of poems, including a film in which I play everyone, A Doll for Throwing, an Elegy, which received the National Book Critics Circle Award. She has published translations of Dante's Inferno, illustrated by Henri Dreschler. Purgatorio, and Colonies of Paradise. Poems by Matthias Goritz. She's been the recipient of a Hodder Fellowship from Princeton University, a Guggenheim Foundation Fellowship, and a Berlin Prize Fellowship from the American Academy in Berlin. She teaches at Washington University in St. Louis. Her translation of Paradiso will be published by Grey Wolf in 2025. I give you Mary Jo Bang.
Robbi, thank you so much. And I apologize to everyone, Philip, for missing your previous poems and any consternation I caused you, Robbi. My translation of Paradiso was due yesterday and it wasn't ready. And so I've been given until Monday and I lost myself in Canto 4. The time just disappeared. So please forgive me. I'm so happy to be here. And it's hard to read anything after Philip's last poem. I'm devastated by the poem and by the fact that 12 has now multiplied to over 30,000. Yeah. I'll read a poem called The War, which isn't about a particular war, but it seems like it's applicable to any war. The war, it begins with a gesture and then grows into a military tank that begins to speak in death speak. A guard's eye watches from behind a screen that conceals his embarrassing thoughts about being. He goes trampling across whatever continent he finds in front of him, relishing the metals and gemstones as if they were canopies, and day was a dance party, and night was a novel set in a feather bed. Chapter 4 is for those young enough to not know what took place in the garden, those who didn't have to hide under a hedge, watching as the Minotaur's feet came closer. I was told to breathe in, breathe out, like an iron lung blowing air into an acorn, into which a pinhole had been drilled on either side. Listen, I was told, to the death rattle while you pretend you're underwater in a river of kindness that loves only you. You know nothing will get you through this. Now, the title of this book, this most recent book, is called A Film in Which I Play Everyone. And I took that film from, took that title from a David Bowie quote. David Bowie, trying to find where I have it so I get it just right. So David Bowie said in an interview when a fan asked him, any film roles coming up soon? And he answered, I'm looking for backing for an unauthorized autobiography that I'm writing. Hopefully this will sell in such huge numbers that I'll be able to sue myself for an extraordinary amount of money and finance the film version in which I will play everyone. So when I heard that idea of a film in which you play everyone, I thought, isn't that the perfect description of a lyric poem? Because who else is around? You know, it's you and whatever's going on in the inside of your mind, which is basically the movie of your mind. And anyone who shows up, you're playing them. So that's how I got the title. And so Bowie shows up in this next poem in a different guise, not in the interview, but in a line from Space Boy. Green earth, the crush beneath your feet, green grass. The you are here locator. Your eyes close. You shake your head and think. The sea was once everything we needed. Bowie singing, do you like girls or boys? Bowie saying, I'll finance the film version in which I play everyone. The siren gets twinned in the violence of a scene that refuses to end. This is, the world is a statement. So is, a day will meet the splintered ends of what went before it. The inhumanity, the rottenness. Night rolls in to stand watch, to see if we find our way. This on a rock moving through air, a century ticking away. I sometimes give my students assignments, and then I test whether or not it's a reasonable assignment by giving myself the same assignment. So I was teaching a course on ekphrasis, and I told them to go someplace and spend at least, 2 to 4 hours. And the place should be large enough so that they can go different aspects and pick up details that will speak to that place. So I suggested, like the university or a church or a hotel. And I actually have a hotel that's a couple of blocks from where I live. And it's a hotel that I've been in many times. I grew up in this city in which I now live, St. Louis. And so, proms were held at that hotel and other events. And I actually went to a high school reunion not that many years ago. And this poem came out of the fact that I decided that I would go to that hotel and then write a poem. I actually cheated. My students are supposed to actually go to those places, and I felt like I'd been in that hotel enough times that I didn't have to actually go. So it's called Hotel Incognito. I was there once, but not looking like I do now. Someone filmed me on the balcony. A man held my hand while dancing. You can see I was wearing a backless black dress. On the way out, I ran into a mean girl I'd known years before. She was basically the same, equally awful, but older. She told me she'd married a judge. How apt, I thought, how simply beyond repair. The pavement outside the plate glass sparkled in lamplight, mica embedded in a mattress of slate. I was walking away. The ghostly X at the center of the turning door kept pushing me out. I was going through the motions of deciding I didn't belong, not then, not there, not anywhere. This is called Some Identical Twin Sister, One Step Ahead. The day shimmers with silver bouncing off the surface of a pond-sized July. Some identical twin sister, one step ahead, looking back without stopping. Can time keep capturing an animal even after it's turned itself in? Cell block of an instant, mugshot of an afternoon fawn, a disappearance at the border of a forest, a bed of narrow gauge needles, a sparkling pool at the park's edge, a botanical garden defined by the never-ending echo of a deco clock. The ornamental myth of floral love carried over moment by moment, repeating ad infinitum. You point to something, a doll in the side yard, her plastic teeth perfect in moonlight. You open your mouth to let the hush in. You and she dressed alike, invisible, luminous blue. When asked, you'll make manifest your ideal smile, your adaptable funhouse face. Punishment will find you when a fever fractures into pieces the durable rod of your long-standing spine. A coat slips from your shoulders. In its pocket, the magical half-tab you're waiting to take. Rimbaud to Paul de Manet, in ink, in a folded letter. You have to be a seer to see. What you really want is to be a camera, documenting the height you're about to fall from. I love the last line of Philip's poem, I'm 7 feet tall. I wish I were 7 feet tall. I'm not very tall, I'm 5 foot. And when people meet me in person, they, after having maybe seen photographs on the back of a book or something, they always say, I thought you were taller. And I'm always shocked by that. Like, how did you even imagine that I was any height? So if you meet me, I'm only 5 feet. I'll read the title poem, a film in which I play everyone. In scene 2, silence is a sleeve. I'm an arm in it. In an outdated Hollywood magazine, I found a photo of someone wearing my hair. How can that be? Now I can't stop thinking about the synaptic sparks over which no one has any control. Or they have some control, but not enough to count on in a crisis. I'm making sense all the time of all the senseless endings. A day is as long as the time it takes for the mind to consider life and death countless times, which must make a day plus a night a highway we're only vaguely aware of, since we're busy sitting in a chair or lying on a bed with a floral print bedspread, or walking to the store past someone with a dog on a leash and a phone in their hand, into which they seem to be saying, that is not what I meant, blah, 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 to an absent ear. Home, you unpack the items you bought, crease the bags flat, stack them out of sight, all without saying a word. This is a non-speaking part. You're an extra. That day you were filmed on the steps, walking into the school dance, the costume you wore was pure you. The set for the scene where everyone disappears was painted Parisian sky blue. The air burned like a curtain on fire. The fire kept going out, then being relit, a trit candle on a cake made of clouds. The theory of personality, excuse me, the theory of personality. Is change even possible? The color of the sky can be altered by a blue dot sugar cube melting on a tongue. Someone's green glove decapitates a daisy, deadhead removal of a dead flower head. The petals gesture, she loved me once, she is no longer. In some languages, a window is said to give, as in the window gives onto a forest or a backyard garden. A pale yellow chrysanthemum can stand in for the sun above the same window, but it won't give light. A fashion craze for leather pants can easily alter your view of skin tight. There is, of course, that surrealist train, the one that is continually leaving the station while staying right where it is. That train is, if you've ever read Andre Breton's novel, verse novel called Naja. At the end, there's this train that keeps leaving and never leaves. So maybe that's what change is. We keep thinking we've changed. Yeah. My teacher, I went late in life to an MFA program. I was 48, went to Columbia, and my teacher was Lucy Brock-Broido, who died a couple of years ago. And she was an amazing teacher for me. And her death, she's younger than I, and so her death is premature, even though she was in her early 60s. And this poem is for her. It's an elegy for her, and it's called The Echo. And if you have ever seen photos of Lucy Brock-Broido, she had very long blonde hair, like down to her waist. And in some ways it defined her visually, the same way I'm shorter than I must seem. The Echo for Lucy Brock-Broido. The transient snow in a shaken globe was making me think of the Moscovian dome, below which, in a small private room called a cubiculum, I'd read that they had buried an empress's golden hair after she'd died, after, quote, they inquired eagerly for the Tsarina, but she was nowhere to be found. From the remotest periods to the present time. It's the book in which that quote is found. Snow becomes rain under the overhead rainforest showerhead, drop by imbecilic drop, dripping onto a broken stone floor. About the absolute fracture that death represents, my brain believes in what I believe. Like any animal, we make our way. Amphibian, reptilian, mammalian. Some days more than others, I put away one moment and up comes another, a replenishing gold Virgilian bough. Outside, snow engulfs the asphalt, the sidewalks, the drivers. In a second, it seems, a million trains enter and exit the tunnel. The flood protective walls rise, a tower of torn eaves over a storm-drenched oubliette. The dome dissolves, leaving only the ineffable portion of this time and the idea that we who are still here have kept what was left of her. Hanging the, sorry, hanging the curtain. The curtain was meant to hide the zoo of my petty vices, but instead it was a coat that kept falling off my shoulders, revealing a watch that kept adding up the hours. After finishing my shift, I sat with a pill in my hand, then thought better of it and dropped it back into its plastic. In the family album, I stood at the edge, a dented girl with a divided mind. Daily, the same awareness. It was only a matter of time before someone would act with cruelty. Now, looking back, I see, will you, won't you join the dance as the ever-pestering question. In the side yard, 6 rabbits in a cage, lettuce torn to bits, silent rats consorting with rusting tin cans at the bottom of the drainage ditch, occasional victims of a stepfather's shotgun. Once a year, fireworks sounded the night out. A weeping bush occupied the corner yard, the flowering branches bent like water falling from an active fountain. When I hit my limit, I crawled under it to escape the conceptual blur. I was talking to a poet friend the other day, and she said that she'd been reading my book and that the poems were very bleak. And said that, yes, that was true. Staying is a form of haunting. Staying is a form of haunting wherever you are, like the boy in The Dead who remains where he is as he turns into snow. Slowly things get done or done to you. A miscellany has no end, but is only an encyclopedia with extra blank pages where endless wishes wait to be recorded. Sorrow wheelbarrows over a snake and a boat goes by. I love you, I wanted to say to the girl, but silence kept sounding its silver bell. One day, the consumptive blush of my cheek will flower at the very moment a red feather blows by, making a perfect match. She who once loved being me says, it's difficult to believe now that you once wanted to belong to never. And that quote is a indirect quote from someone in Purgatorio who whose mother kills herself, and the daughter says, how could you belong to never? So yeah, these poems were written at a very bleak time. I have a lung disease and it became much worse, and I was in the hospital, in and out of the hospital for three times, and at home having to give myself IVs, and then the pandemic began. So yeah, I apologize for the bleakness of the poems, and but I think that sometimes, you know, there are bleak times, and maybe poems that are honest about those feelings are consoling to others to know that they too are not alone. So Robbi, am I supposed to let people ask questions?
We don't really have time for that today.
Okay.
We have an open mic and people will only be able to read one.
Oh,
poem
I'm so
each.
sorry. I didn't realize.
That's
Okay.
okay. That's okay. I'm so sorry that you didn't get all my messages and emails telling you all these things. But thank you so much for coming when you had so much work to do. And that was a beautiful set of poems. And Phil, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to have you, to have both of you.
Is the open mic now?
It is now.
Okay, well, I'll stay and listen if I've that's
Of course, I hope so.
okay.
It's a very small open mic. So this is a community. First Virtual is a journal, but it's also an online community of poets. So that's its purpose. And so at these readings, which I initiated and host and curate, our regular community, which grows ever larger from the readings, shows up, and about 8 or 9 of them get to read. And today it's only one poem because of the way things are configured, but people will be back next month, so I'm not worried. They'll get a chance to read, and I'm sure they're not either. So Hedy, would you like to start one poem, please?
Certainly, certainly. Thank you very much, Philip. Thank you so much, Mary. I'm still, all your words are resonated within me and within everybody. I'll read a poem that appeared in Gargoyle not long ago. It's part of an upcoming manuscript. And it's named, or are seniors really expandable? You tell me. It all started with the realization that my grandmother had died at my age, an age more than certain, and that I would hate to disclose for fear of its symbolic weight. Suddenly, images collide of how old and worn out she was, and how young I feel inside. Then I was comforted at the thought that my mom outlived her own mom, which gave me another 15 years to complete my work. How important is that work, and to whom, I wonder. But I soon bounced back and decided that if writing is futile now, it was futile then. My children used to think that by the time their parents would reach 40, they'd never have sex anymore. And didn't I change my views about what an old woman is? But let me tell you, just get to that threshold and see how it is just the beginning. And yet, seniors are dying in nursing homes like flies sprayed with insecticides. Thank you.
Thanks, Hedy. That was pungent. Mark, would you like to do a poem for us?
Sure. This is sort of great because I found a great translation of the Song of Songs. It's the best translation I've seen. If you can find it, it's marvelous. This is called Fig Tree Early March, and it has a short intro from the Song of Songs. The fig tree has sweetened its new green fruit, and the young budded vines smell spicy. Hurry, my love, my friend, come away. Fig trees' naked branches glisten gray as bones of winter. Today, time changes, moves forward through nature. The morning sun clears clouds, turns world stark blue. Looking at bare branches, who imagined spring, its leaves bursting chlorophyll green, turning light alive, harbinger of summer fruit. Virgin leaves mark misty paths back to Eden. At the moment, Adam and Eve opened their eyes to shame, stripped leaves off verdant branches to cover their nakedness, walking into a world where God created them and they gave birth to humankind with all its angels and monsters under the shadows of mortal fig trees, patiently waiting on spring's return. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Rose?
Okay, I just managed to unmute myself. This is hello from Peru, everyone. This is from my latest book, Life Stuff. I'm pushing 86, and this is when you begin to think about things and look back and look forward too. This is looking forward. How to prepare for my final flight. First, let me fly. Ideally, my hand in your hand, one more time giving me warmth. My eyes fading into the cool blue pools of yours. Your kiss and the promise that you won't be long. Still, I have a feeling that time is relative where I am going. We'll not be discussing this, however, at least not now. I'll be taking my backpack and move over that eternal line. Will the weight be lighter now? Moving one waft at a time. I suppose I'll be wafting. It's not American football. As you know, I don't believe in the God the church made, but I wouldn't mind a bit of singing. There was once a song at my grandfather's funeral, but that's in German and only works if you understand the words. It's about going home after finishing work. My grandfather was a working man who wore working man's boots. I can still hear his heavy tire tread on the wooden steps of their little house. So you choose your favorite, Janet Baker. Even though I'm telling you that Mary Ewing would do, still, this is your party. Invite your best friends, but try and love some of mine too. There will be a few who would like to listen to the arias. Once you have my ashes in a box, you won't sink so low as to put them in a personalized urn. Promise me to take them to the forest, any forest, to become perhaps a Sumaumera in our piece of the rainforest in Peru, a pine in the Spanish Sierra, or perhaps a birch in Finland or the German Alps. I would very much want what stays behind to become a tree. However, as I said, it's not my party. I would love to be tall and gorgeous and able to give you shade.
Mhm.
Thank you.
That's so wonderful, Rose. Thank you for reading
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you for writing that too. Dick,
Thanks and wonderful reading. I really, really appreciated the two features and of course the open lines. So just a little context, this is a very short poem, so I'll take a moment for context. The Hubble constant is the number that Edwin Hubble came up with when trying to describe mathematically the rate of expansion of the universe. And so that's in the title. I confirm the Hubble constant from home in Ohio. Deb left yesterday. She stays in a cottage just an hour to the east. Alone, she types into her phone. By day, she explores a woodland of beech and old oak. The creek talks with her on the paths she makes by walking them. At night, she holds the sky to her like she would a basket of river glass. I imagine she runs her fingers through that collection of lustrous stones, cups handfuls, and flings them back into space. How can I miss you, she texts, when I have the dark to keep me company? I am here, and she is out there, receding into the quiet companionship of her retreat. This is how I know that the universe continues to expand.
wonderful as always, Dick. Thank you. Victoria,
Hi. This poem is thank you to the features, by the way. Some very, very nice poems. This poem is Your Voice is Like Rain Now. Your voice is like rain now, misty drips and droplets falling on a far watercolor garden, pinks running into blues, happy notes in yellow rivulets. Flowers looking out with hazel eyes, little wet bees and butterflies wandering, tasting here and there. Do you have birds where you are, the tiny wise ones that chirp in the morning? Do you sing to them as you sang to me before I fell asleep? Thanks.
you do a lot of birds in your artwork, and some migrated over to your poem. That's very nice. Thank you. Alan, will you read a poem for us?
Thanks, Robbi. This is, Dick read a poem about physics, and I have one about physics too. It's about the Webb telescope. And, it's just an amazing thing. Back at the beginning, when the Webb began taking pictures, a physicist who was a bit of a joker took a picture of a piece of chorizo, and he displayed it as if it were a star, and it got quite a lot of attention. So this poem is called "Physicist Apologizes for Fooling the Public into Thinking a Picture of a Chorizo is a Star." Holy shit, says one of the physicists who helped launch the Webb and stuck it up there like an old to-do list left to ripen on the fridge. Then it opened like a flower blooming in one of those Disney shorts when we were kids that taught us about beauty, but made me kind of impatient as I sleepwalked most mornings on my way to school. The Webb is up there, swaddled by stars in L2, perched between Venus and the sun, taking snapshots of the history of the universe, except for that wayward slice of chorizo, which, though quite lovely, is no Proxima Centauri. These pictures might be millions of years old, about how long it takes light to travel from so far away. It defies common sense. Like my photo from 1992, the DMV keeps on my driver's license. No cop will believe that when he pulls me over as I'm speeding through the universe. These days, I'd rather just slow down to an old man's crawl and get to the dentist on time. No fear of missing out for me. I'll gladly keep my distance, content to wait long as it takes for science to weigh in with its incomprehensible results, which all too often never seem to change anything at all.
Thanks, Alan. I don't hear enough of you, so it's lovely to have you. Gary?
Thanks. And thanks for everybody's reading. This is kind of a physics poem as well. It's titled "Nothing Lasts." The night of Mom's death, I wondered how souls vacate closed eyelids, and which of her thoughts were lasting alabaster. I mean, there's always another pizza after my wife eats the last slice, even if I have to pick up the phone. Do we still say pick up the phone? Or is it just, where's my cell, blurted out to a now empty room, the last person gone? And what about that last remaining Luxardo cherry in the jar? Original maraschino, though they have no stems, so you can't manage that bar trick for closing time. The one of tying a knot in the stem using only your tongue. A flex showing your talent as potential lovers, if only for one last hour, on one last night. And will your closing hour amour be the last person you'll entice into the ebon-painted quarters of your heart? When you take them, will it be your last flat, this current home? Or will both lover and house slide into the last chapter of your manuscript of life? Was it Schrodinger who said that everyone is both first and last, as well as someone in between? Thank you. I guess this is Physics Corner.
Ron? Ron, are you still here? Not here anymore? Okay.
Do you mean Don?
No, Ron.
Oh, okay.
Well, if Ron isn't here, then John, read one poem for us. Are you going to read a poem? You're muted.
So sorry. So sorry. I posted this poem to the Verse Virtual Facebook page in case you want to read it. No one was there. A young white man killed 8 last week to save himself from temptation. 7 were women: Hyun Jung Grant, Sun Cha Kim, Yang Ai Wei, Zhao Ji Tan, Sun Chung Park, Dao Yu Feng, Delana Ashley Yan, and Paul Andre Michel. We shopped today at the Pious Bookshop, bought Seder plates for the kids, packed in a clean pizza box with secondhand bubble wrap. Passover is this weekend. They had coffee mugs and fridge magnets, skull caps with slogans, "We are stronger together," and "No place for hate." As if it was this morning, I remembered passing security for the funeral, the line blocks long down Darlington Road. 11 unorthodox killed at the Tree of Life. I longed for the others, the pious, to be with us together down Darlington Road, and at the cemetery later, their beards, black coats, and tzitzit. But no one was there. As if you're not Orthodox, you're not a Jew. As if it matters that the murdered are. Lot's wife died nameless for being unmale. That's no one was there.
Thank you, Don. I'm going to finish us up, if you don't mind, by reading one poem. It's called Saturday Lament. It's going to be in the Whale Road Review sometime. Saturday Lament. Too many things I hoped would last forever disappear. Bumblebees fumbling a field of rosemary. The sun breaks through morning fog, a yellow hammer, call of a distant towhee. At the yoga mat, it's the same as any other day, poses probing the groin's stiff clay. Only words come easily, new leaves on the old eucalyptus. No, I'm sorry, that's going to be it for the open mic for today. This is always a very, very short, small open mic. And today our reading ran a bit late. So thank you to everyone for being here, and thank you to our wonderful features, and to everyone at the open mic, and to the people who are listening as well. You too, as Milton said, serve a purpose. So thank you, and I hope that you'll all return again when we'll have other folks to feature and read at the open.
Mary Jo, I have a quick question because I just saw the Blake exhibit